Hey guys, Danny the Medic here. Welcome to the channel. Now today's video is going to be about a couple of things. One, the oyster loaf and my deep dive, okay? Now, so what happened is that I was at work, right? And the previous day, the lady came around with the menu and said, hey, can I take your order for tomorrow's lunch? So then I'm looking at the menu, and this was at T.P. Quagmire's in Mobile, Alabama. And I'll tell you about Mobile also, okay? Now, so what happened was that I looked through the menu and I was like, hey, this looks interesting. It's called the Oyster Po' Boy, right? Po' Boy, right? So I'm like, all right, fine. So I ordered it, right? And that night back in my cheap hotel, I started Googling so I can tell you about it because I don't know anything about it, you know, because I'm not from around here. Now, I found out that the po' boy means poor boy, like someone with not enough money. Something about it being invented because someone was on strike and then they made these things or whatever, right? So the oyster po' boy, as it turns out according to my research, and I could be totally wrong guys, it predates the po' boy, something called an oyster loaf. Oyster loaf, guys, amazing, right? They deep fried the oysters and they put it in the bread. I'm just like, wow, all right, it is very old. Now, then I started looking and I found out that over here, Mobile, Alabama, has something in common with New Orleans, Biloxi, as well as Baton Rouge, right? Now, I was like, firstly, in one of my previous videos, I had said I'm coming to Mobile, Alabama. Comments below, guys, they're like, hey, it's pronounced Mobile, Mobile. I'm like, why do they gotta make things hard for me, right? Then it's like how they say New Orleans instead of New Orleans. Go figure, who knows these things, right? Now, I found out why that is so. Turns out, this whole area down here, there and behind me, the whole thing was once Louisiana. My God, the whole thing was called Louisiana. It stretches up all the way to Canada. I was like, what the heck's going on here? How is this all Louisiana? Turns out, Louisiana is what the French did. In like the 1700s, the French came, right? Took over a whole bunch of stuff, and then they made a little area about 25 miles north or something like that of where I am in downtown Mobile. 25 miles north, they made it the first capital of Louisiana. And then I was like, my God, could you imagine the French coming over here and then they're saying like, hey, let's call this place Louisiana. You know, anyway, so it's called Louisiana, right? And that all these cities, you know, New Orleans and Mobile and Baton Rouge, Biloxi, they were all like French cities. Go figure. That's why these po' boys and the oyster loaf is made with French bread. They just left the bread everywhere they went. They came over here, they left the bread. They moved over to God knows where, they leave the bread. They leave bread everywhere. It's kind of like so they can find their way back to where they came from. Okay? Now, so I've been speaking to a lot of locals and they're like, did you know Mardi Gras started here? I'm just like, what are you talking about? How's that possible? It is possible, guys, because the Mardi Gras came with the French people, you know. And then so the official first United States Mardi Gras is actually, you know, started from Mobile, Alabama. But then you can't say that because back then it wasn't Mobile. Wait, was it? Who knows these things? Anyway, so the oyster loaf. Let's check it out. So what we have here is the oyster loaf. Now it comes in this here, wait, someone's at the door, hold on. Coming! Hello.
Hey, no one else?
The truck is 50 minutes, and that was maybe 10 minutes ago.
Oh, okay.
And they said they're all left, and they're gonna come back later.
Okay, I'll come back.
Okay.
Thanks, man.
All right, so what was I? Oh yeah, what's with all this stuff? Do you know YouTube videos actually take a lot of equipment, guys? Look at all this. I got sound, I got light, I got video, I got grip, I got electric. I'm just kidding. None of this is mine. Yes, the Oyster loaf. Now, the reason this Oyster loaf comes in a styrofoam box is because that's how they wanted it done. Normally, it comes in a plate, right? And the reason the restaurant looks so weird is because it is not actually the restaurant, it is the space next to the restaurant where we're having the lunch, because the restaurant's full of normal people, okay? Now, as we open the box, we see here a piece of paper. After removing the piece of paper, we have here French bread cut in half, and we have fried oysters in there. About 8 pieces of fried oysters. And we got French fries and some sauce and etc. etc. Now, let's try the fried oyster. As I'm chewing the fried oyster, I'm thinking to myself, it kind of tastes like, well, referring to the breading, tastes like KFC extra crispy breading mixed with Popeye's breading. It kind of got that type of flavor to it. The oyster inside kind of tastes like oyster, right? Nothing spectacular about it. Nothing wrong about it because it is a pretty fresh tasting oyster. And now let's try the fries. Now the fries over here taste like potatoes. Now that may seem a little on the nose, but what I really mean is that imagine you take a potato, you peel the potato, you cut the potato, you fry the potato, it tastes like that. Not that that's much of an improvement. Now let's take a bite of the sandwich in its entirety. So, after biting the entire sandwich in its entirety, I realized something. When it is all together, it kind of tastes like a meatball sub. It did not have that oyster flavor to it. I think that the tomato and the lettuce kind of like mixes with the oyster, and then now it tastes like a meatball sub. Strange, guys. Now, next to that, I have some cocktail sauce and tartar sauce, okay? That tartar sauce was very mild. I put some tartar sauce on the sandwich. I took a bite of that, and that made it taste more sandwichy, right? Like a sandwich. Then I tried a bite with the cocktail sauce, and I said, ooh, in my mind, it's thinking this is a seafood sandwich. Go figure. All right, so Mobile. Why is it called Mobile? You don't go to your phone company and say, hey, I'm thinking about switching over to T-Mobile. That sounds weird. But it turns out there's an easy explanation of why it's called Mobile instead of mobile, because that's how the French pronounce it. All right, so thank you for watching my video. You have a good one, guys.